Welcome back. Okay, so let's have a look at those arithmetic operations. For example, if all characters are digits. Let's go ahead and try it out. So we are in insert mode, and for the sake of things, let's use num this time. Say equals to 1100. So 1100. Now we shall type in let num minus equals 10 and echo out the value of num. Thank you. Let's go ahead and run. And you see we have subtracted 10 out of 1100. So this is the same as what I have described before. Basically, you are just writing this in a short version. Num equals num minus 10. 10. So this notation up here has the same meaning as this one down below. They're exactly the same. It's just more convenient to write things this way as I have written them, as opposed to actually writing the long versions of it. Now let's go ahead and take a look at replacement or substitution. Var equals, shall say $, open up the curly brackets and type in num, and then we shall type in slash. This is not divided, this is just, we're not performing division. Here, a different form of operation is being conducted. So now we shall replace some of these numbers with a letter. Okay, so let's replace 11 with the letter B. So 11 slash B, close curly brackets, echo var right. I seem to have done something wrong. Let's take a look at what it is. So the idea is to replace something here with a letter. What it is that I'm doing wrong? Well, take a look at these numbers down below. It echoes out here, and then it echoes out here. Notice that I don't really have an 11 here. Why? Well, I have just subtracted 10 out of it. So instead of 11 here, let's go ahead and write 10. Right? And there you go. So 10 has been replaced by B. You see, 10 is here and B is down below. 90 has remained the same. You can perform these very convenient substitutions during the code. For example, if you wish to convert a certain number into hexadecimal or something like that, this can be very useful. I'll just give you an example. So, alright, let's leave this to be 10. And let's go ahead and delete this part. So we would like to convert number 10 to be represented in a hexadecimal format. And if I just write this, you see A. 10 has become A. Very simple. So the hexadecimal notation of number 10 is a letter A. Hexadecimal notation of number 11 is B. Just so you know. If you wish, I would advise you to look up at number systems, and within those number systems, take a look at hexadecimal and binary number systems on the net. You will find ample documentation on those things. But I would just advise you to read the definitions and to understand the basic concepts of what they actually are. So let's go into the next example. Now we will go ahead and do this. Type in let quotation var plus equals, well, we don't really need this. Type in var is equal to, I don't know, 10. And now we shall say var plus equals 1. And this will add 1 to it. But look, since var is a number now, we can say that the var shall be a letter. And we can add the number to it. So var is equal to A0. What do you suppose the result will be? Echo out var. Let's go ahead and run the script. The result is 1. So var is now 1. because bash sets the integer value of a string to 0. So once again, bash sets the integer value of a string. This is the integer value. Sorry, not this. It sets the integer value of a string to 0. This is some sort of a string that we have here. This entire thing, A0, this is some sort of a string. This is clearly not all of this is a number. And the value of a string will be set to 1. Let me just demonstrate this. If we were to change this to 10, and if we were to type in here, hey, right? It's number 10. So the value of this up here is actually 0. These are some neat tricks that you should be aware of, as they can cause headaches later on. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the opposite of what we have just done. The previous one where we have substituted numbers with letters. So let's go ahead and type in hey 100. I don't need to use this number. You can use any other, really. Why am I using this one? I have no idea. And now we shall echo out var. And down below, we will say, basically, we don't need let. We shall say that some num equals $, curly brackets, var slash, what shall we replace? Hey. And we would like to replace hey with, I don't know, 20. Let's put it like that. Now we can go ahead and run this. And nothing has happened. What could be the problem? Let's go ahead and change this to 20 and 0. It's still the same, so there is a problem in here somewhere. Let's go ahead and try and figure it out. So var is some sort of a string. We've echoed out var, so hey 1101, that part is fine. And then down below we have typed in that num equals $, curly bracket var, which is this particular variable. And then we have stated the pattern that we are looking for. And after the pattern, we have stated what we wish to replace it by. And then we have basically just echoed it out, but we have echoed out the var. Yep. So my bad there. Right. Hey, take a look at what has happened. It's now hey 1101, and down below it's 200 1101. Could have also placed, I guess, 20 here. And you can see now it's 20 1100. These things, as I said, can be a little bit tricky. Even I make mistakes, especially when I'm actually casting and coding at the same time. So I am a human being after all. And you will make mistakes, I assure you of that. Every coder does. And sometimes you will get a little bit confused. That is why I have deliberately left pretty much all of my errors within the casts. I deliberately don't want to make it perfect. I do not want to give you an image of something that it actually is not. Every coder makes mistakes. It doesn't matter how good or bad you are. The people who work for the top companies out there, the coders, the developers, they make errors. Everybody does. So don't let that discourage you. It's perfectly fine. It's perfectly natural. It's a natural learning process, so to put it so. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue and use another thing. We can say that's var1, and we shall set its value to be null, so nothing pretty much. I don't really care, but hey, you can also put this. You can also declare it like this, or like this. These are declarations of the same, so no worries there. And now we will state that echo var1 is equal to $var1. Right. So what do you think will happen now? Okay, let's delete the upper parts of the code, because they might be a little bit confusing, so you won't know what is one. There's some borderline cases pretty much. So you see, again, nothing really happens. It's var1 is equal to nothing. So this will be printed out as a string, and then this will be printed out as a reference value, which is pretty much null. So nothing there. But now we shall go ahead and put something else in here, and we'll say let var, keep going to the other screen, let var1 plus equals 10, and then we shall echo out var1. You can see that var1 is now 10, in fact, but we have, because this is pretty much an empty line, we actually went into another line, because we have added 10 to pretty much an empty line to nothing, and then it first prints out nothing, and then down below it actually prints out 10. Why does it print out nothing? Well, because we have echoed out nothing here first. Anyway, keep in mind that null values are not zero. Dividing some integer by a null will result in a syntax error. Null values are not zeros, but they can be treated as such in arithmetic operations. Dividing some integer by zero will also give you a different kind of error, which is division by zero. So dividing by a null value will just give you a syntax error, while the division by zero of some integer will give you a division by zero error. So it will be rather specific of what has occurred. So there are here we have two types of variables. So we have local, and they are variables within the code blocks and functions. They are visible outside the code block or a function. So if you write some sort of a code block or a function, they will be visible outside of it. You will be able to recycle them in the rest of your code. But environmental variables, they are created whenever the shell is started, and all child processes of the shell shall inherit these variables. So for example, if that particular shell spawns another process, that process will inherit these environmental variables. All environmental variables, they are set, and all the environmental variables that are set by the script must be exported. This can be done by using an export command. And sometimes you will need to use this in a shell when you're writing something, but not just, for example, not just in this script. You will need to use them here, for example, in the terminal. So when you start a program from the terminal, let's say I would like to start Kden Live. If I press enter, you see it's going to start it. And this Kden Live will inherit the environmental variables defined within the shell. So if something's not right, if some environmental variables are not configured to what we want them to be, we can basically pre-configure them here on the command line and then spawn a process, and then that process will inherit those particular environmental variables. We will deal a little bit more with this later on. It's not too complicated. You will see how it actually works out. For the time being, I just wanted to actually mention it so that it's somewhere out there. I will call the tutorial here, as I am running a little bit short on time, and we will continue in another one. with that, with the follow-up tutorial, we will pretty much round up this mini chapter of variables and parameters.